Disaster Management by A. Hariprasad. In our last classes, we studied the endogenous hazards like earthquake, volcano eruption, and now we are going to study landslides. The landslides is one of the endogenous hazard. The landslides means the term landslide includes all varieties of mass movement of hill slopes and can be defined as the downward and outward movement of slope forming materials composed of rocks, soils, artificial fields, or combination of all these materials along surfaces of separation by falling, sliding, and flowing, either slowly or quickly from one place to another. Right? So, most of the landslides occurs at hill areas where the slopes falls. So, what are the causes of landslides? What are the causes of landslides? So the first one is intensive rainfall, right? First one is intensive rainfall. The storm produces intensive rainfall for periods as sat several hours or have a more than intensity lasting several days have triggered abundant landslides. Heavy melting of snow in the hill areas also resulting in landslides. That means the soil become very looseness and it lose the total support of this structure. That means due to the heavy rainfalls and maybe causing of the floods. And next one is human excavation of slopes. Right? For the development purposes, we are the constructing the roads, buildings by cutting down deforestation, cutting down trees. So when the cutting down trees, they become strengthless. Means it cannot be hold the soil for a longer period. Whenever the whenever the rain falls, then the supporting structure of the soil or rocks for a particular zone area leads to a landslides. And another landslide is cause of landslide is geological weakness. Means there is a no structure. There is a structurally there is a no support, no support of rocks and soils, which also leads to a landslides. The we can see the picture. In the picture there is a house constructed at this at the hill slopes. So during the any rainy season it loses the total soil supports and now the house will like to be falling, right? Another cause of landslide is erosion. See, so during the heavy rain season, the flood will flow. Means in the flood, the soil will flow along with in water. So due to this water, again we have to cut due to the deforestation and for the development of road constructions, the vulnerability of that area is increases. And one more another most is, so we already studied in the endogenous hazard the earthquake and volcano eruption, right? What do you mean by earthquake? The movement of the tectonic plates. Means there is a some adjustment of the ocean plates and continental plates which leads to this, which loses the supporting of the soil and rocks. So the earthquake will trigger the landslides in many different topographic and geological setting, rock falls, soil slides and rock slides from steep slopes involving relative thin or shallow disaggregated soil. Both have been the most abundant types of landslides triggered by the historical earthquakes. And now another reason is volcanic eruption. We know the from the volcanic chamber, the lava will flow through the vent to the earth surface. Right? Means there is a decomposition of loose volcanic ash and hillside, commonly followed by the accelerated erosion and frequent mud for debris flows triggered, which also triggered the landslides. And so, due to the different falling of landslide or slip the lands, they are naming like falls, flows, creep, and debris flow. So, among these, the what is fall means a sudden movement of material that became detached from the steep slopes or cliff, moving by free fall, bouncing, and rolling. What about the flows? General term including many types of mass movements such as debris flows, debris avalanches, lahars, and mud flow. We will know that all these debris avalanches, lahars, and mud flow is due to the volcano eruptions. And one more thing is creep, slow and steady down slope of movement of soil, rock of the tent indicated by curved trees, trunks, bent fences, or retaining walls, tidal poles, or fences, and debris flow. The rapid mass movement in which loose soil, rocks, and organic matter combine with the entrained air and water to the form slurry that then flow the downslope, usually associated with the steep gullies. And what are the effects? What are the effect of the landslides in India? So we are Indians. We have to discuss what are the hazards we are facing in our country. So one of the major in northeastern states is landslides because those areas are fully Himalaya, fully with the uh, slope areas. So, Indian subcontinent with the diverse geographic, seismic, tectonic and climatological condition is subject to varying degree of landslide hazards. The Himalaya, including northeastern mountains ranges, being the worst affected, followed by the section of the Western Ghats and Vindhyas. The landslide constitutes a major natural hazard in our country, which counts for the considerable loss of the life and damage to the communications routes, human settlements, agriculture fields, and forest lands. The removal of vegetation and to erosion have also triggered the landslides. The earth rainfall on the deforestation slope is the main factor in the peninsular India, namely Western Ghats and Nilgiris. So how to with reduction take the measurement to stop the landslides? So first of all, we have to locate the areas, means that is hazard mapping, where the areas prone to the slope failures. This will help to avoid the building settlements in such areas. These maps will be also severe as tool for the mitigation and planning. Land use practice such as areas covered by the degraded natural vegetation in upper slopes are to be afforested, which is suitable species. Existing patches of natural vegetation like the forest and natural grassland in good condition should be preserved, and any development activity initiated in the area should be taken up only after the detailed study of the region has been carried out. So if you are going to any construction or development in a particular zone, we should study the located area, whether it is safe or not. And another one is construction of buildings areas beyond a certain degrees of slopes. So while constructing by engineering constructions, we should follow by rules and regulations so that we can avoid the with landslides. The total evidence of settlement in the risk zone should be made mandatory. Relocate the settlements and infrastructure that fall in possible path of the landslides. Possible risk reduction, one more thing is the retaining walls. So we should construct the retaining walls along the roadsides, stop the land from the slipping, and seen long roads in hill station. These are constructed to prevent the smaller size and secondary landslide that often occur along with portion of the landslide. So best example is in our Tirupati, we can see those retaining walls now being constructed. And surface drainage control work. So we should choose a proper drainage system to flow of water through the wall. The Surface. The surface drain control work has implemented to control the movement of landslides accompanied by the infiltration of the rainwater and stripping flow. And one more hazard, that is cyclone. The more hazard is cyclone. So what is meant by cyclone? It is exogenous. Exogenous means it is totally related to climatic changes, right? During the summer season, during the summer season, so there is a temperature rise on the earth surfaces. Simultaneously there is a temperature over the surface is 26 degrees Celsius. So this is a scenario during the summer season. Now the high pressure is built on the earth surfaces as compared with the sea surfaces. Now high pressure area will move to the low pressure area which form the cyclone, right? Which form the cyclone. So what is the definition of the cyclone is the region of low pressure surrounded by the high pressure resulting in swirling atmospheric disturbances accompanied by the powerful winds blowing in an anti-clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and in the clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere, right? So when the cyclone is formed in a swirling atmosphere, disturbances occur in the sea. So what is the basic characteristics of this cyclone means? In cyclone India, moderate in nature and some of the natural characteristics of cyclones are strong winds, expeditional rain, storm surges, right? Next, the how the formation of cyclone. There are four stages, but in book we have three. We know well known of three stages. In the first stage, the warm sea temperature above 20 degrees causes warm rising humid air. In the second stage, cooler high altitude temperature causes formation of cumulonimbus clouds, and rising warm air causes surrounding air move towards the central low pressure area. Next, in third stage is cumulonimbus clouds form into long spiral cloud bands and Coriolis effect causes incoming winds to swirl around the central area of pressure. And the fourth stage is high altitude winds carry away air disabled from the top of the cyclone air system. Drier the air from higher altitude is slowly drawn to the center of the storm, causing the calm eye. We can call it as a eye, means in the center of the cyclone, means in the wind center part of it we can call the eye, and surrounded by eye we can call the eye wall, right? Hurricane force wind circle around the eye, storm system is pushed along the track by track winds. So this is the structure of the cyclone. We can see in the picture there is a center part of the cyclone, means the air is surrounded, high pressure low pressure is surrounded, and the center part of this one is we can call the eye. Around the eye we can call it as a eye wall, right? And how the cyclone will become decay or weaken. A tropical cyclone weaken as soon as its source of warm moisture air is suddenly cut off. Means the moisture around the cyclone is cut off. This is possible when the cyclone hits the land and the cyclone moves to the higher altitude, and when there is a interface another low pressure, there is another low pressure which leads to a cyclone to weaken. So once it hit the land, it starts the wind and heavy rain and surges. Right? The heavy rains and surges and wind. Combination of these three leads to a disaster. So what is the effect of the cyclones? Right? What is the effect of the Cyclones. First thing is it is the physical damages, right? Once it started to super, if it is a super cyclone, the speed of a super cyclone is more than 200 to 300 kilometer per hour, right? Once it is blow with the speed of 200 to 300 kilometers, it can structurally will damage and destroy the wind forces, flooding and storm surges, light pitched roofs of the most structures, especially the ones fitted onto industrial buildings will suffer severe damage. Once severe damage. So what are the consequences of this cyclone? So those consequences are casualties and public health caused by the flooding and flying elements. Contamination of water supplies may lead to viral outbreak of the diarrhea and malaria. And cyclones, so water supplies. Ground and pipe water supply may get contaminated by flood water, right? There is a heavy water will flow through the drinking water pipeline which contaminated the bacteria and all those things. And when you consume, when you have it, you can face the diarrhea and malaria, which is a physically problem. And another side is when the if during the season the cyclone started, the crop whether the crop, paddy fields it ready to cut. At the moment, high winds and rains ruin the standard crop and food stocks lying the low-lying areas. Planted crops such as banana, coconut are extremely vulnerable. The salt from the seawater may get deposited in agriculture, and land increases salinity. The loss of the crop may lead to acute food storage. So these are the basic these are the effects of the cyclones, right? So how to reduction the measure cyclones, possible reductions. The first thing is we have to map the hazard area, and one more reduction measure is we can predict the cyclone when will hit the earth surface, because now we are technologically developed, we have developed a satellite, we can predict the cyclones within 24 hours or 72 hours, so we can evacuate the people from near the coastal area. So in India we have the total 7510 coastal area, 10 kilometers coastal area. So where the cyclone is prone, that area should be vacated. So we have to vacate the place. We can reduce the measure of the loss of people, and we can plant the trees vegetation along the coastlines. Scientific interwave pattern can reduce the effect of hazard, providing cover through green belt sustainless damaged forests, act as a wide buffer zone, acting strong winds and flash floods without the forest cyclone travel freely inland. The lack to protect forest cover allows water inundate large areas and cause destruction. With the loss of the forest cover, each consecutive cyclone can penetrate the further inland. Meteorological record of the wind speed and the direction of give the probability of the winds in the region. Cyclones can be predicted several days in advance. The one is extensive and often very destructive. The past records of the past can give the pattern of the occurrence and particular wind speeds. Hazard will illustrate the area vulnerable to cyclone in given year. It will be useful to estimate the severity of the cyclone and various damage intensive in the region. Flood management on Earth. Strong wind and storm rage leads to flood in cyclones affected areas. There are possibility of landslides too. Flood mitigation measures should be incorporated. Plants creep, improve the vegetation, cover the roots. Plant tree keeps soil intact, the prevent erosion and slow runoff the coastal belt plantation. Prevent loss, lessen flooding. The use of free plant rows will act as a windbreak. Coastal shelter belt plantation can be developed to break severe wind speeds. It minimizes the devastating effect, and the Orissa calamity has also highlighted the need for the urgent measure like shelter belt plantation Along cyclone-prone coastal areas, species chosen for this purpose should not only be able to withstand the impact of strong cyclone winds, but also check soil erosion. Thank you.